So this meeting of the Finance Commission was given in compliance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act by providing notice to all municipal and county boards within the Pinelands area to the Secretary of State on December 20, 2017. The Commission's officially designated newspapers on December 20, 2017 by posting publicly on the bulletin board of the Commission's office.
Thank you. Good morning, Nancy. If we have roll call.
Commissioner Ashman. Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Barr.
Here.
Commissioner Chila. Just another phone. Okay. Commissioner Galetta.
Here.
Commissioner Howell.
Here.
Commissioner Janarone.
Here.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Here.
Commissioner Lobauer.
Here.
Commissioner Pikaliski.
Here.
Commissioner Prickett.
Here.
Commissioner Quinn.
Here.
Commissioner Rowan Green. Chairman Irwin.
I'm here. Thank you. If we could all rise for pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we get started on our regular agenda, just a quick announcement. Contrary to what was reported in several newspapers, the DEP will not be here today to testify on any matter. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear for anybody who's here to maybe hear some beautiful testimony from the DEP. They will not be here in front of us today. The first item, moving along, first item on our agenda is the adoption of the minutes from August 10th, 2018. These are the open and closed session minutes. I'm sorry?
We need to do them separately, please, today, the open and then the closed.
Okay, so we will do open session first. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments, excuse me, on the open session minutes from August 10th, 2018? Any comments? I have a comment. I will not be voting affirmative for these minutes. I do not believe that the commission as a whole followed its duty as part of the comprehensive management plan and as it relates to the Bass River matter. I think that new information was introduced into the record. And as we know, the Open Public Meetings Act was not followed with information that was disseminated. So, and because of that, I think that the applicant's rights were violated. I will not be voting affirmative on these minutes. So that being the case, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Me as well.
I'm sorry?
Me as well.
You as well?
Abstention.
Abstention, okay. Did you get all those? Okay. Next, we have the August 10th, 2018 closed session minutes.
Chairman Erlin, before we get started, the reason that I asked that the closed session minutes be handled separately is we did have one recusal with regard to that matter. And so I now ask Commissioner Howell if he'll just leave the room for a moment for the vote.
All right, Commissioner Howell has left the room.
I move
the
there.
adoption of the closed session.
Second.
We have a second. And questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. All right, moving along. Committee and staff reports. We did not have a personnel budget committee meeting, but we did have a policy and implementation committee meeting, of which I attended and will read the summary. Meeting was held on August 24th. The committee adopted the minutes from its July 27th meeting. The committee met with representatives from South Jersey Transportation Authority and the AC Airport regarding the 2004 MOA and safety concerns regarding the grassland habitat conservation plan. The committee came to a consensus for a recommendation to the full commission to direct staff to engage in further discussions on locating habitat elsewhere beyond the 10,000-foot active air facility per FAA administrative requirements. We've also directed staff looking at developing and amending a new MOA. The committee requested an opportunity to see the current habitat firsthand prior to its seasonal mowing. And I can attest firsthand, as well as several other commission members. We got to go down there on September 4th, and I wanted to thank South Jersey Transportation Authority and the AC Airport for affording us that opportunity. The committee also received a presentation on a proposal to be submitted jointly with the USGS to the DEP for effectiveness of pollutant removed by various stormwater facilities from the Barnegat Bay watershed. That's the report from the August 24th P&I meeting. Any questions or comments? Looks like you have something.
This seemed like a good point to interject. Commissioners, as you know, back in February of 2016, the process with regard to MOAs was slightly amended. And now that process requires that after the P&I committee is briefed and gives its recommendation to move forward with the preparation of an MOA, that matter be presented to the full commission for its consideration. And so I'm asking for a vote at this point on an oral motion, if someone would make the oral motion, to authorize staff to move forward with its efforts to work with SJTA to create an amended MOA or a new MOA. We would then work with the Policy and Implementation Committee to move that project forward, draft an MOA, keep a Policy and Implementation Committee in the process, and essentially.
Move that motion.
You want it done as a vote, or as it just a?
I believe I need it as a vote, just because, let me read the provision for you. Step 7 says the executive director will brief the full commission at its next meeting on the public agency proposal and the Commission's Policy Implementation Committee's recommendation. The Commission will then determine whether to authorize staff to move forward with the administrative process and draft an intergovernmental agreement. So, I mean, I think we could just do it.
Okay. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Are there any questions or comments from commissioners? No? All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have, what do we have for executive staff reports?
At the last commission meeting, we had issues with the phone. People who were on the phone couldn't hear. There was confusion. It was bad. So since then, Jessica Lynch, who's probably not in the room, we did a fair amount of due diligence. We had our contractor who sort of owns this system for us come in. And there's a number of reasons why we're having the problem. One, we have very high ceilings in here. The acoustics are bad. It makes an echo. We have 3 non-compatible technologies in play here. We have the Polycom, which is that thing. We have the desktop speakers, and then we have our sound system. It wasn't designed to serve as what it's serving as. So Comtech, who did this work for us, is researching a new system. We'll reach out to other vendors, get some bids, see what it'll cost, and then move forward. We do have, I think, just one person on the phone now. It's Candy. So I would just recommend we all try to talk as loud as we can. And I would also recommend that perhaps before any vote, we just confirm that Candy's there and she's heard everything and she understands what we're voting on.
Candy or Darcy?
Oh, Darcy, I'm
Darcy,
sorry.
yeah.
Candy's not on the phone, right? Right.
Correct.
Sorry, Darcy. That she understands, so that there's no more confusion and nobody can say after I couldn't hear. And then we'll see what it costs to put in a new system so we can do this. The only thing I would tell you, Darcy, is if you're having trouble hearing, you could watch the live stream where apparently the sound is much better, but then you can't interact that way. You'd have to come back onto the phone.
Right.
And the last thing is, Darcy, are you using your cell phone?
I'm on my cell phone. I appreciate it.
If you mute your cell phone, it might be a little better. Okay, but in general, if you mute your cell phone, we think it might be better. Okay, and that's all I have.
So if we could, just again, a reminder for commissioners and staff, please turn the mic on and speak into the mic if you can, please. Thank you.
I just have one thing I wanted to mention, bring you up to date on. If you recall, we're starting to look into an amendment to the Pinelands Infrastructure Trust Fund master plan because the money has been accumulated. It's now around $13 or $14 million. And so we're thinking about going back out and requesting proposals. But before we do that, we've been contacting all the towns and regional growth areas to see what they need. Because the last time we just did sewer, and we're not sure that that's the most pressing need. So I've contacted personally 25 different institutions, had lengthy discussions with them. We had a meeting here the other day with Manchester and Jackson, both endorsing a single project. I thought that was sort of unique to take care of some of the needs in the regional growth area, a sewer line and a water line, each about $2 million. So we may get some projects. So I'm looking, that's a positive sign. I just want, it'll go on during the fall. We'll come back to you at various points for your input. And we're hopeful by the end of the year or early next year, we will have some projects. Thank you.
Any questions for Larry before we go on to Chuck? Floor is yours.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. Just two items. The first, on August the 15th, the staff accompanied Mullica Township officials to a meeting of the Atlantic County Agricultural Development Board. The Development Board was considering a matter that Mullica Township was pursuing with a commercial use on a farm in the township. At that meeting, the board was briefed by county's multiple councils, and the board determined that the Ag Development Board in the county did not have jurisdiction in the matter, that it was a Pinelands matter, and referred the matter back to municipal court. That municipal court hearing is scheduled to occur in October. And the second item I just wanted to mention was in early August, the commission received an application in South Toms River proposing 360 dwelling units and a hotel. This follows up on the commission's action to certify a redevelopment plan in South Toms River. And the redevelopment plan requires that PDCs be used for 25% of the market rate units. That's all I had.
Questions for Chuck? All right. Who's next? Susan? Anything, Susan? Stacy, you had your turn. Bruce? All right, Paul, what do you got?
So our exhibit project's going along well. You can see some of the progress that's being made now that we've had contractors in to complete the electrical wiring, the installation of fire sprinkler heads, and HVAC. You're going to see a lot more movement to do all that needs to be done to prepare for the installation of the exhibits themselves. We are looking at drill construction, the contractor completing sometime in mid-October, and then it would be 7 to 10 days for the exhibits to be installed. That presumes 12-hour days by the exhibit fabricators, and so we're looking at November. But we're very happy with the way things are going. A lot of work's getting done on it behind the scenes. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I'll ask one more time. Any more questions for staff? All right. At this time, I believe we need to retire into closed session. Is that correct? So if I could ask our Attorney General's office to give us the legal.
I inquire the case.
Why don't you just give a brief public summary where we currently are?
Sure.
And then.
Okay. At the August 10th commission meeting, a public development application report for an application submitted by the Department of Environmental Protection for clearing of trees at the Bass River Fire Tower was before the commission. Commission did not approve that public application report. In this situation, the comprehensive management plan states that the matter is to be referred to the Office of Administrative Law. On August 17th, I received correspondence from the Division of Law regarding assignments of Deputy Attorneys General on this matter. There are many ethical walls. There were many attorneys assigned to different places and different things. It was very confusing. On August 23rd, I received a letter from DAG Mark Collier representing DEP requesting an extension of time pursuant to our rules. This request for an extension of time would put on hold the referral of the matter to the Office of Administrative Law. So since we last met, the Office of Division of Law assigned lawyers all over the place. DEP wrote in for an extension, and that's all that has happened. and here we are.
Okay, so as you all are aware, the Open Public Meetings Act provides that, is that red mean that's on? On, okay. The Open Public Meetings Act provides that public bodies such as the Pinelands Commission may retire into closed session to discuss certain enumerated items, one of which is those pertaining to attorney-client advice. The commission would like to retire into closed session to receive attorney-client advice relating to the Bass River Township fire application. We could get a motion for that. And minutes would be available at such time as they are no longer considered confidential.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the motion or what was just stated?
I have a question, Chairman.
Yes.
The director referenced the letter from DAG Collier. Are we going to be receiving advice pertinent to that letter? Or is that something we could discuss without going into closed session?
Yes, we will be discussing the letter.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
I'm not sure I understand why we need to go into closed session for this. I mean, the letter is public. Why can't we discuss it here?
To the extent there's commissioners that would like to receive attorney-client advice, that's typically something that is done in closed session on paths forward here. And that is privileged, and the whole commission would have to waive that privilege in order to have attorney-client advice given in open session.
Not quite sure I understand, but I guess I'll find out in closed session.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. We will retire to closed session. If we could ask everybody to please leave the room. Do we have a time frame of how long we will be? Kristen, about how long will we be?
I don't.
So we'll try to keep it to under 30 minutes, but we never know where these things go. All right?
Take your personal belongings with you.